Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we're here to look at the Mother Mort's Carnival of Souls Oracle deck. It comes in this beautiful book style box. And this is a new release from US Game Systems and Matt Hughes. If you feel like you recognize the name Matt Hughes, he is also the author and artist for the Ethereal Visions Tarot, the Ethereal Visions Luna, the Dreamscapes Oracle. He's got a couple of decks out there that you may or may not have in your collection or have on your radar. And this is one of his newer ones. So shout out to US Game Systems for sending this one over to me for purposes of review and so that I can share it with you. They actually sent me this copy as a preview copy, which I was very excited about because it gave me the opportunity to work with the deck a little bit for a long time. Actually, I've had it for about a month now to be able to share with you guys my experiences with it because I was a little bit starstruck by this one when I first opened it. I gotta admit, and you'll see why once we open the box. It takes you, it gets you. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me just calm down. Let me just use the deck for a little bit. So that's what I did, and here we are. So now I can really share with you my experiences rather than just like my stars in my eyes first impressions. Although I'm still pretty impressed by this, I gotta admit. So it says step right up and enter Mother Mort's Carnival of Souls, a magical place where you will experience the karmic balancing act of life. Mother Mort is the powerful triple goddess who leads you through the Carnival of Souls, where you'll witness death defying acts and meet a host of frightful characters. For this is where the cursed ill doers meet their fate and face their doom. Those like young Jane, who have suffered more than their share of misery, find a kind of magical cleansing and rebirth here. Which fate will you encounter? Read the poignant story of Jane's strange carnival odyssey in the 80-page hardcover book. Meet the menagerie of creatures and characters in the 32-card green foil accented oracle deck with gilded edges. Discover their messages in the 76-page full color guidebook. This deluxe set includes your own copper foil carnival ticket. It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to open this box and I'm going to spoil for you the experience of opening the box. If you don't want to see, if you just want to see the cards, scroll forward a little bit, but I'm going to open it and I put it all back in here the way it came for me for the most part so that you guys can see what you get. So it opens like this. There's no flap on the side. It just is a book style box. And it's like, "Whoa," and it feels like a cigar box almost, like an old cigar box that people are keeping like the story of the Carnival of Souls, the ticket admission for when they went to the carnival. You know what I mean? Like it's just a really kind of cool. It's like ephemera and all these memories in this cigar box that's been sealed for us. And then we open it later, right? So you get this book, which is a hardcover storybook. This is an actual storybook that gives you the full story of the Carnival of Souls. It's 80 pages, and I'll look at it with you. This is the guidebook spreads. We'll look at it in a minute, and then you get your cards. And your cards have the copper foil on the back. You have a matte green edge. This matte edging with these linen cards is a vibe. Like this is my new favorite cardstock from this company. I love this matte edging with the linen stock. This is my favorite new one. They have a couple of new stocks, and this is my favorite. I've what else did I get that had the same cardstock recently? Let me think. The Universal Folk Tarot came with this. This was the first one I think I opened up with this. I don't know which one came first. I can't remember, but I like this new stock with this painted edge. This is a vibe. It's a vibe. So, and then you get the foil, the green iridescent foil on the front. So it's like a rainbow foil, like his other decks, but in green. So that's what you get, and we'll take a look at the cards in a minute, but we're just gonna pop them off to the side so we can take a look at the books. Okay, so you still get the beautiful foiling on this. The end pages are stunning. I mean, this took my breath away when I opened it up. I was like, wow, this is a lot in a box of cards. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's beautiful. Look at this proscenium. So this is a full-on storybook, illuminated storybook in acts, 7 acts. So that's kind of how it goes along. And each act is basically a chapter in the book. And it reads like a storybook. I'll read a little to you. It says Jane had once been a precocious child, filled with curiosity, a deep rooted sense of right and wrong, and a propensity to burst into fits of giggling. Her parents, Lenore and Charles, loved each other almost as deeply as they loved Jane. So when Charles died suddenly of an attack of the heart when Jane was just 5 years old, it devastated them both. Utterly heartbroken, Lenore began to suffer from deep bouts of melancholy and slowly withdrew completely, leaving Jane to deal with her grief alone. Jane retreated into her imagination to pass her time and lessen the pain of loneliness. But despite her best efforts, Jane found an abundance of imagination could never conquer loneliness, and no pretend family or friend would ever come close to the real thing. In the end, sadness prevailed. Jane had almost given up into sorrow completely when one fateful autumn day a gentleman called on the household wishing to pay his respects to the widow. His name was Edwin Cartwright, and he stated that he had been a friend of her father's and had regrettably been abroad when Charles had passed, something that still pained him greatly. He offered Jane's mother his help in any capacity. Lenore was smitten, and Jane, despite feeling a small knot at the pit of her stomach that refused to subside, was pleased to see her mother smile and laugh again. She forced the feeling of anxiety that arose whenever Edwin was there to the back of her mind. Lenore and Edwin were married within 6 months, and she was dead just 2 years later. The doctor stated it was a strange allergic reaction to the nuts in a piece of cake she had eaten the evening she died. This explained the unusual discoloration of her lips and the strong smell of almonds lingering on her breath. No one would listen when Jane insisted that her mother had eaten nuts countless times prior to that evening with no issues, or that the family dog Winston, an old fat pug, had also collapsed and died after nibbling the crumbs from Lenore's plate. They were dismissed as the imaginings of a troubled, grieving child. Her stepfather's demeanor changed that night. At first, he had always been friendly and civil to Jane, at least in the presence of others, but now he treated her with nothing but contempt. He was always so angry. He was angered at being burdened with a child that was not his. He was angered that her mother had left the majority of her estate to that child in a will that he had spent months and hundreds of pounds disputing to no avail. Most of all, he was angry that Jane had declined to have a piece of cake that night, and that she had been cautious of what she ate ever since. And so it was, for several months, a standoff between a child and a murderer. And it goes on about and so that it's a really good book. It's very well written and it's exciting. It's this is a gothic fiction, so it's exciting. It's a little bit terrifying and a little bit exciting to read, and I enjoyed it very much. I was drawn in. Now for this one, you have the this is the guidebook. You have the introduction to the theme and some information on how to use oracle decks and how to cleanse them. There's a couple of basic spreads here. This just says each description contains some of the character's backstory and a guide for interpretation. For a more comprehensive story about each character, read the full Carnival of Souls book, this one, included with your oracle deck. As for interpretations, each message serves as a guide and a starting point, but keep an open mind and let a mixture of the character's backstory plus the interpretation guide you're reading and your journey. And so that's what you get. You get an illustration of each character with their name, and the book is in alphabetical order. When you get your cards, they'll be in the order of the story, I believe they were, but the book is in alphabetical order. So easy to find the cards because they're in alphabetical order. And you get the backstory condensed into a couple of paragraphs basically, and then you get an interpretation. And that's the guidebook. It's very succinct, but everything you need, and the interpretations are very clear. And then you get a little bit about the creator in the back, his Instagram, and that is the book. It's very cute. I like the parchment. I like that it's stapled book, so it feels like old. You know what I mean? Like it feels old, and it's really easy to open and work with. So Love that. The only thing I missed was the little bags that they've been putting in there. I was like, oh, damn, I wish there was a bag, but I'm going to find it a little bag to put it in because once I finish with this, the box and the book will just go on my shelf when I'm using the cards because there's only 30 cards in this little book. So I don't need that big box out when I'm using it, but it's beautiful and I like having it on the shelf because it's nice to look at, but a little bit terrifying, all at the same time. All right, so there are your backs, fully reversible, and they are foiled. So you can see they glow a little bit in the light. And I did not put the cards back in order because they're not numbered and there's no need for them to be in order really. So we'll just look at them in whatever order they landed in here. But we start with Ludus the Wag. He's a nice guy. His interpretation is about enjoying life. We have Professor Simberg, the artist, and Kismet. And they all have this foiling, just like in his tarot decks, and I believe his other oracle decks, but they fall in different places, the foiling. So it's interesting to your eyes. Here we have the Hoodwinks. They look like the lights around a backstage mirror, dressing room mirror. Here's Arsenic Jane. This is our main character in the dress that she wears when she goes to the carnival. The King of Crows. This is the guy that stands outside of the carnival, and you can see he has his sign roll up, like to come in, come one, kind of come one, come all kind of situation, come join the carnival. The Sphinx. The Fire Eater. It's gorgeous. I like the colors change and they look a little green sometimes, they look a little orange sometimes, so that's nice. The Puppeteer. The strings are glowing. Here's Mr. Kane, the banker. He's beautiful. And I like that some of the backgrounds do repeat. Like here's that mirror funhouse or dressing room mirror look again. Most of them are different, but there's a couple that do repeat. I think this is the gentian. I think the N is silent, but I'm not certain about that. Morrigan, the Great Queen. The Knuckle V. If you watch Outlander, I think that's the first time I'd heard about a Knuckle V on Outlander. This is Maiden Mort. So she's a maiden mother of crone. So this is the maiden Mort of Mother Mort. Siren. Madame Pythia. The Amazing Slage. How do you say that? I don't know. It's probably Gaelic. Beautiful picture. One-Eyed Jack. We meet him when we first get there. He's the one with the ticket. He's pretty cool. We like him. Some of these people are like really terrifying looking, but then still friendly. The Sandman. And we recognize some of these. Maybe you recognize all of these. Here's Mother Mort, the mother. So we saw the maiden. This is the mother of the same entity. The Witch in the Well. This chick here, man. She's the one that like tells everybody's lies, like catches everybody in their lies and like spills everybody's business. I love her. The Astounding Lady Macaria. And I think this is a good place to say, like, when you're looking in the guidebook, you're going to just look up Lady Macaria. The astounding part, you won't look under A, you'll look under L. The adjectives you just ignore. Okay, here's the Memento Mori machine. Here's our crone. So that's crone Mort. So we saw maiden, we saw mother, and here's crone. Dream cadaver. Would not want to see that in my dreams. The amazing Miles Taddy, but actually you would just look that up under Miles Taddy, like I said. Carl Scheel, Shelley, I don't know. He's the chemist. I don't know that I ever saw his name in the actual book. I think it was just the chemist. Maybe it was. I don't remember. Molly and Wally, the twins. Lightbringer, the candle lady. This was the first card I pulled. Beautiful card when I used the stack. Mirror Mary. This was when I actually started to see what was actually happening in the story, because you know those gothic stories always have like a what's really going on. This was the second card I pulled, the Bone Fairy. This one is about, as terrifying as it looks, it's actually a really good, it's actually a really uplifting message about spreading your wings and flying, you know. And that's the last card. And there you go. Those are the backs. Let's take a closer look at the guidebook. So this is a standard tarot size card, just so that you can see what they look like up against each other. It's a little taller and a good bit wider. This is the Ethereal Visions Luna. So if you have Ethereal Visions or Ethereal Visions Luna, you can see, let me just turn this around so you can see it better. You'll be able to see that they are the same height, but a little bit wider than the Ethereal Visions. And Ethereal Visions is larger than a normal tarot size card. So you can see there, it's taller and wider than a normal tarot size card. And this one is the same height, this oracle, but still a little wider than Ethereal Visions. And then up against the Hay House, normal Hay House oracle size deck, you can see they are the same height and a little bit more narrow. So that's the size. Because they're long, normally because I have small hands, I wouldn't be able to, but this is only 32 cards and they're very bendy because they're linen. They're like that plasticky coated linen finish card. So they shuffle great and I'm able to riffle them with no problem. Overhand is nice and smooth. Ooh, we got one. Look in this guidebook. Like I said, they are in alphabetical order. So Hoodwinks would be what? K-H-I-J-K. Hoodwinks. There you go. I had to sing the little song in my head. So there you go, if you want to read it. The puka are mischievous little creatures who wander among the carnival goers, eager to play pranks on their unsuspecting victims. These shapeshifters can take on many forms, though in the Carnival of Souls, they frequently dress as clowns. Considered bringers of both the good and bad fortune, the appearance of a puka can represent either extreme trickery or a refreshing, helpful playfulness. Most often encountered in rural, isolated areas, puka are much like a no-faced, two-sided coin, representing the inherent paradoxical nature of reality. The interpretation: when caught in a selfish or egotistical frame of mind, these two tricksters encourage you to pull back and try to see the non-dual aspect of reality. Maybe you've been viewing a situation or problem in your life as an either or choice, where there's one winner and one loser. This card invites you to shed your black and white thinking and remember that reality is more of a grayscale. And so that is the lovely interpretation for Hoodwinks. If you pull your Hoodwinks card, I want to read one of the Mother Maiden Crone cards so you can get a feel. They all have different backgrounds and different stories and different interpretations because they show up at different parts of the story. Let's read, I don't know. Let's read this one. I like this one. It looks a little terrifying, but it's actually a really good story, and it's kind of the turning point in the story, and it also has a great interpretation. So let's take a look at. Let's start with Mother Mort. Oh, you can't see. I'm not going to read her backstory. I'm just going to read the interpretation. It says, in the form of the Great Mother, Mother Mort is a matriarch and an empress. She is a creator and a nurturer. This card represents creation in all of its forms, whether it is the creation of a business or a relationship. The keys she holds represents the germination of an idea, inspiration, and the yearning to act on such ideas. It also represents the need to be receptive to change. Okay, Memento Mori. That one, I'm just going to read the interpretation. It says the card represents the fleeting nature of time. It may be a sign that you should dedicate time to something you have always wanted to do, or a reminder that time is running out on an important decision. Either way, be cognizant that time is short and that unnecessary delays or indecisiveness can lead you to missing out on something positive. This card is a reminder to live life in the moment, forget the past, and look ahead to the future. So, yeah, those are some of the messages that you would get using this deck. So, I find these to be really great for daily pulls. And I've been using this is the Ethereal Visions Luna Tarot, which is also one of this creator's decks. You can get this one from anywhere you buy your tarot decks or US game systems as well. Um, and I just been pulling one card from here and then one card from here to kind of because each message asks you some questions. So then I've been just kind of, asking those questions of the tarot and pulling a card to kind of answer them. So that's kind of how I've been using it. But I think it would also be really great to use it in a challenge section of a spread. So if you have a challenge section, if you have a blocked energy section of your spread, if you have a shadow section of your spread, or you could use it like an archetype deck. I think that this it feels very complete because it's thematic. I don't feel like I missed any cards except for the one card that I was like, I wish was there that wasn't. And I kept looking, thinking, am I missing a card? Was the stepfather. The stepfather is not in the deck. And at first I really thought I was missing a card, but I kept counting them. No, they're all here. I don't know why he's not in the deck. I think maybe because he's actually not a part of the carnival, but I think it would have been cool to have him in there. But that's just my own personal opinion. Other than that, I didn't feel like the deck was really missing any cards. It is light. It's only 32 cards, and I know that a lot of people would prefer to have more than that for an oracle deck. But like I said, if you're using it just one card at a time, or if you are just pulling it in one section of a spread, I think it's fine. I wonder if Matt Hughes is going to be making any more of these decks. And if so, maybe you can, put them together to make like little mega decks or whatever. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know he has the Norse one out, which has some archetypes in there. I wonder if you could mix those archetype cards with this. I don't know. I don't know if they're the same size. I don't know anything about that deck, but I'm just, I'm thinking about ways for people to get more cards if they want. But personally, I've been using it with just the 32, and I think it's great just as it is, just pulling one card at a time. So we've got Ludus the Wag and the Nine of Swords, and I told you that Ludus is about finding the joy in your circumstances. And this is the Nine of Swords, which we know is about the opposite. So it's just like, if this is where you are right now, there is always going to be things, there are always going to be things to worry about. There are always going to be things that are going to, run through your mind. You have to do your best to focus on the positive and enjoy every little thing that you can, because if you let yourself get dragged down into this, there's nothing good coming of that, right? So, yeah, I like this, you know. And sometimes these questions can be difficult. The Sandman, man, you know what I mean? Like, he's eating eyeballs, like this one here about being this was about bullies. This is a very shadowy card about finding that, coming to terms with some things that you may have done wrong, um, righting wrongs, understanding where you are in life and if that's really where you want to be, um, revealing to yourself your true self. This is a deep one. It's a deep story, and it's a deep in the book, and it's a deep card. One-Eyed Jacks. I like these. Let's take a look at some other decks though. I'm wondering what else might go with it, and I've been just using it with this one. It was pretty easy. But I don't have the Ethereal Visions, the gold one, and I do have some other gold foiled cards that I'm wondering if it'll go nicely. So let's check them out. Let's start with this one. This is the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. It's the same style of art. So we've got, Art Nouveau style, which is Matt Hughes's art style. And then you've got this gold. I'm thinking I don't know. The look of these does match because he uses a lot of it's a lot of dark skies in the background and the blues in the background, and that does match the Luna edition of his deck, of his Ethereal Vision stack. But I'm thinking the gold is gonna look better than the silver. So let's just look. Let's zoom in. Type. This one is about um being on the right path, illuminating, new paths for yourself, or even just making sure that are kind of getting rid of the doubt that you're not on the right path. And if you're having a devil card come up, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not the right path, or maybe what you're illuminating is that you're pretending you're on the right path when you know that you're not. So I do like the way this gold looks with the green. I actually like the way this whole deck looks with this. Um, yeah, I like this. It's pretty. It's rich. The Siren with the 9 of Cups and the 5 of Swords. Ooh, here we go. The Siren with the Queen of Cups and the 8 of Coins. Yeah, I like the way this looks together. I'm definitely going to use these together for sure. I like the gold with it because this has some orange tones when you start to move it around. So I thought the gold might. This is the Symbolic Tarot of Worth, another Los Carabeo gold deck. I've got a few gold decks, but we are going to try these two and then get out of here. So let's see how this one looks. This one is not Art Nouveau style, but definitely a little more, not gothic, but strange. You know what I mean? So I think if we're talking about curious things, this one is more curious for sure than the tarot Art Nouveau golden, whatever the name of the golden Art Nouveau tarot. I mixed the words all up. So you see we've got like heads floating and stuff. Like I think this one is a lot more curious. So I don't mind this either. Look at the Hermit with the Crone Mort. I like those two together. And then the Maiden Mort came up right below her. I think I like this one too. The 5 of Wands. See, we've got floating hands and floating body parts in this one. So it just feels a lot more curious than the other one. So I think I like this one. I think I might like this one better. It's definitely calmer and less busy. So, I don't know. I like them both. Which one do you like? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot and oracle. If you want to know where you can pick these decks up, I will post those, of course, in the description box below. I'm also going to put a link to Matt Hughes' website so that you can take a look at his other projects that he has available as well. And let me see, I think that's it. So until I see you guys next time, stay safe. Oh, yay, let's end on Ludus and be blessed. Bye-bye.